Okay, this is the lesson where I think everything comes together. Hopefully this is going to be the big step that kind of wraps the whole idea of all these different concepts that I've been talking about all together and makes everything kind of make sense a lot more. I had talked previously about the equator, the pentatonic equator. I showed you guys in the video the hybrid pentatonic approach, kind of when you're rooted at the 5th fret, because we were talking about being at the 5th fret in that video, that all you need to do is change one note, right, the minor third to a major third to get this sound. And we have talked about since that it can be used basically it encapsulates the vibe of Mixolydian. It can be used over many Grateful Dead songs, many other types of songs in general. It can be a very powerful addition to your musical palette. You can use it over blues. I have a video that's going to come out that talks about that as well. But I did mention that there is a pentatonic equator, and so yes, you can be at the 5th fret here and kind of have that A Mixolydian. That kind of exotic sound, but it does pair with this kind of A major country Allman Brothers sound. I view them as the same thing, but in my brain I have this equator where on the upper half of the 5th fret it kind of has this kind of sound, and then below it has more of a they have different feels even though they have the same notes. So I'm gonna put up this, maybe it'll be over here wherever there's space in the video. I'm gonna put up this scale that shows the other side of the equator. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch that other hybrid pentatonic video. This is now on the bottom side of the 5th fret. And so it looks just like the minor pentatonic. But we're just adding 2 notes, and that's designated by the green in there. And I say 2 notes because the E string on the bottom and the top are the same, so it's the same note here, right? It's that G. So you're not playing it in a scale necessarily just like that. Sorry. You're not landing on the F sharp. You're still in A. That's why you're kind of looking at the root of this now, still being that 5th fret. It still has that Mixolydian flavor, but you can kind of choose different emphasis on different notes to get more of a sweet, which Jerry would do a lot, but it kind of reminds me more of Dickie Betts. Obviously my feel is kind of dictating that, but I just wanted to show you the usefulness of being able to navigate between the equator, because then you have twice as many notes and kind of infinitely more amounts of phrasing, because if you can, and you don't have to be like me, but because I segment these 2 different feels and sounds into 2 different compartments, when I kind of move around the fretboard, I can choose what kind of vibe I want to express through my guitar playing, whether it's that kind of open, big intervallic, or a more sweet, that type of thing, and I can alternate between them and kind of blend into a hybrid, the hybrid pentatonic. adding in chromatics everywhere. Then you can kind of, you know, have unlimited amounts of options. Something else that's interesting though is, right, because when we're in the upper equator of this pentatonic, it's centering around an A chord, and technically so is this lower. It's just this different kind of shape for an A, where if we're starting on the D string, it's 2 2 5 5 going up, so D G B E. It's 2 2 5 5. That's still an A, and that's what this is based around. But I have talked a lot about how the Mixolydian is basically just an A and then a whole step down to a G. That's like mainly the sound, right? You can play over Darkstar. I had a whole video about this. And you can use that. So what's cool now is if you have this understanding of this lower equator, you can kind of see that this G now fits in, and you can kind of slide into it and incorporate the arpeggio of a G into this hybrid pentatonic shape. And you can do it everywhere. So I'm gonna also put up this chart that shows what I showed you last time, which is kind of like that. It's like a dark blue color on the graphic here, and then I'm gonna keep up what I was just talking about and showing you guys, so that I can show how I view when we're in A, or like A Mixolydian. This is like the core kind of scale, I don't want to say scale though, shape or foundation of what I'm playing. You know, I view it more simply. I view it as like upper equator, lower equator. I have a general sense of which notes evoke certain emotions and an understanding of intervallic playing, but that all came from this more foundational approach to playing over a major chord. And then through years of practice and listening and jamming, I was able to develop a larger vocabulary that I'm not flexing, I'm just trying to show you where it can go and what a high level understanding of some of these concepts translates into, right? And then now when I play something like a run like that, before it didn't fit neatly into the box that I was showing you, but when you combine these two, you can see that everything I'm playing is right there. And I'm starting on the A string and I'm on the 4th fret, and I'm just going up in that within that scale that I have shown on the screen. And that's the cool thing about the pentatonic, right? It repeats all over the place, so if I know this, every lick that I do down here is going to work and sound exactly the same. I think really great guitar knowledge is kind of like building a little pyramid or a sandcastle, where you have to just build each piece and then things start to fit together. Or maybe it's like Legos and you start to get this bigger understanding, and these small pieces, once you start putting them together, you can start building this bigger and bigger picture. And just from these two scales, you can see that I'm going from all the way from the 2nd fret all the way up to the 9th fret with like almost complete filling in the blanks of what notes work over an A Mixolydian. And of course, there's still 2 more shapes. There's the A shape of the cage system, and then there's the C shape. And that covers between 9 back up to 2 or 14. So we haven't talked about those. I don't know if I need to really, but just know that like you just need to learn 2 more positions from what I just showed you, and you know the hybrid pentatonic across the entire neck. And if you really want me to, I can show you what that looks like. But I have a more concrete from top to bottom understanding in this lower location, and a kind of different understanding once I get up here, which I like because then it gives a different flavor of how I play guitar. It doesn't feel like this formulaic thing where it's like I'm playing the same thing here and here and here and here. You know? I'm trying to say that the way that I view what I'm playing in terms of shapes up here is a little different, and I think that benefits the way that I navigate guitar so that it doesn't sound as formulaic all over the place and there's more variability in my playing. But I can show you how I think about this area in a future video if you want. So, to tie all of this together, I am going to solo over Fire in the Mountain. So I've been talking about the equator being at the 5th fret. This song is in B. So just imagine, and this is like almost homework for you guys, imagine we are now shifting this equator up a whole step to B, and try to use your ear. I'm showing you these graphics, but once you kind of learn the general idea, you need to move towards ear playing and listening, because that's what's really going to help you. So try to, you know, fool around and understand what I'm doing when I'm playing over Fire in the Mountain, but I do want to show you that, you know, a lot of Grateful Dead, Mixolydian modal music is this pentatonic hybrid approach that I showed you, and I think I've given you like the main tool set to begin playing and expressing yourself over it. So check this out. Here's the upper part of the equator. Whoops. Here's the lower. Sorry, my rhythm's kind of messed up because my ears, I've been having ear troubles. So, sorry if my rhythm and my playing's been a little off lately. It's a little different of a vibe. It's a little more slidey, and you know the way I play it's a little more slidey. It's a little less like straight ahead kind of Mixolydian. It feels a little bit more vocal. And maybe a little more country. That's where those country bends are. In that shape I was showing you. Alright, now I'm going to start to hybridize. The thing that's cool about the end of Fire in the Mountain is Jerry basically uses that scale I showed you, but he changes a few notes. But then he goes back into it. So basically you can look at what he's playing as the scale that I showed you with just some chromaticism in there. And that lick that I'm doing right there, I'm doing but within a slide on top. It's a cool lick. I followed up with a. Alright, anywho. I think this is the. If I have any important lessons on here, these are some of the most important ones, I think, to synthesize. If you want to go from either a beginner to an intermediate or a more intermediate to a more advanced guitar player in this style of music, I think this is very, very, very important. And it kind of connects a lot of different styles. You can start to get your feet wet with a little bit of country and maybe a little bit of bebop, but for the jam type stuff, it's just indispensable. And just for more, I hate to call it psychedelic, but just more spiritual kind of guitar playing. With the emphasis on more exotic melodies beyond just a pentatonic. So using the pentatonic and the hybrid pentatonic to basically break beyond the pentatonic. Cool, guys. Thank you.